Welcome to TradersArmy.com, defending your right to build wealth and preserve capital for generations to come. Yeah, Monday. What's up, everybody? Monday morning, shortened week. It is the daily market commentary in a short week. Hope everybody had a great weekend. We're going to do what we do each and every day, identifying potential reversals and breakout trades in a futures market. But we're going to do something a little different today. Are you ready? Hold on to your socks. Hold on to your socks. We're actually going to take a look at some options plays this morning, not just futures, but also options. And I got a text yesterday from a friend who was talking about, I understand that futures are my income play and options are more for my swing trading and wealth play, and that's exactly it. I say this all the time. Nobody got into trading to become futures traders. Nobody got into trading to become option traders. You got into this game to become traders in general. And so today, especially on a shortened week, we're going to look at two potential trades, one for gold and one for crude oil, as far as potential credit spread opportunities. Not sure if they're going to be there, but we're going to take a look and see if they give us enough credit to make it worthwhile. Not a whole lot of changes since last night's live trade room. We had gapped up in the S&P. Talked a little bit about potentially doing a gap and go trade in the S&P last night. So if we get higher than here, getting long and allowing it to run. But really, we've got a little bit of a demand level down here on an hourly chart. This is, depending on our arrival into this level, this one could be have some validity to it, and then a supply level up above here. This is the pattern that I like. We spent a lot of time last night really dissecting why that pattern is so effective. But it's the downside of this pattern is that it's near an all-time high, and anything near an all-time high, obviously you take a bit more risk. And that risk primarily exists because you're just going against what the big picture is telling us to do. NASDAQ, we see a very similar picture. We had an alert for this wick over wick area up here. We're just kind of basing below it. So originally I was feeling like that could have a chance for a reversal. I'm going to remove it at this point. I just don't think it's worth keeping up there. If we break up from here, I think that this wick over wick may have too much basing below it to give it a good high probability entry point. So let's take a look at crude oil. In crude oil, we've actually have a nice little move up here on the hourly chart. We had a 15-minute level somewhere up in here, little drop base, nice strong drop. And then we may still break down below here, so keep an eye on that. Now, I was going to use, looking at crude oil on a 15-minute level, I was going to use crude oil to identify one of our options positions for potentially an iron condor. In looking at it a little bit closer, we see that I've got a 4-hour upward trend, and I'd have to say that my range of where it would have to stay would have to give me enough credit to make it worthwhile. And in that case, I would probably say somewhere around 62.50 by about 55. Now, if I go look at that trade, I see that the 62.50 by 55, it's a $2.50 spread. Even with both of them together, I'm only getting about a 68-cent credit. I had kind of put this one together a bit earlier. I don't know that makes it worthwhile. I think that it might be a little bit too risky for my blood on an iron condor position, primarily because I still have to be in this trade for another, it's 24 days until expiration. And I don't feel like it's getting enough credit in order to do that trade. So let's look at the same thing in gold. Now, gold on an intraday level, we had a great intraday trade in gold last week on Friday. It just gave a touch and go off of this zone. Now, since then, we have changed it to a 15-minute confirmation entry, but leave me a comment below if you're able to catch that move. That was a great move for our gold trade. And then we put in 2 additional supply levels. Now, it came into our next 15-minute confirmation entry and popped right through it, not giving us any entry. And so I need to remove that level at this point. Looking at the 15-minute chart, we're hovering above this area here for a potential breakdown for price to keep falling right at this point. Looking at this one on the 4-hour time period, we see that we are still kind of range bound in this one. Now For a while, we were range bound up here. Over the last few days, we've become range bound in here. I think that there's a chance we're going to see a little bit of bounce off of here. And so as I look at this one for a potential iron condor, looking at the same thing, we'll build this one actually right in front of you. Now, it may not work. It may not make any sense. But I actually do have I do have one that expires the January options expiring in 31 days. Looking at these as I kind of go to our current position, we've actually got one that expires this week that's going to close out for full profit, but now we have to go a little bit wider. And so, let's take a look and see what 1480 above that area of resistance, what 1480, and let's see if we can get one down here for 1420. I don't know that we'll get enough credit for that, but we always want to use the chart first to tell us where we might want to look. So we'll do the 1480 by 1485. So if I sell a vertical, the 1480 by 1485 bear call, that's bringing in about $1.40 credit. And then if we go below current price and we use these 1420s on the bull put, the 1420 by 1425 is giving us $14.20 by 1425. Oops, 1420 by 1415. Did it backwards. It's giving us a 60-cent credit. So we're getting basically a $2 credit for a $5 spread. Now, what this tells me on the 4-hour chart is that my belief is that we would stay below 1480 and above 1420 for the next month or so, which I think is a pretty valid play. That gives us a lot of width. Now, if you feel like that 1420 is a little bit close, I'm a little bit, you notice we're getting a lot less credit on the downside, and that's primarily because I'm giving me more room on the downside. I feel like the better probabilities are that we'll continue to move down, and this could threaten the downside. But I've got a couple areas of demand there to stop it from getting there. So this is really taking a futures trade. Now, it doesn't mean that I can't still trade it as on an intraday basis in between those levels, but essentially what it does is it puts an area basically saying that I would anticipate price would stay in this range for a while, and I'm near the top of that range now, which is why I'm getting a little bit more credit for the top of that range, but I'm trusting the top of the range because of my overall downward trend. And we're sitting just above that daily area of demand, which we're kind of coming back into now. We may get a little stall there, and anything that takes more time is good for us in this trade. So just something to consider, and one of them to look at in this case, once again, combining futures with options. Looking at our bonds and currency markets, not a whole lot to add from what we looked at from last week even, really. A little bit of a potential breakdown here in the ZN in our 10-year note. If you didn't get into it yet, it's just kind of chopping along. I think there's still a better chance that price is going to move down in the 10-year note. Looking at the Aussie, we see we've got a potential supply level up here in the Aussie. Price came close to it, but not enough to really get us in. In the Euro, we have two supply levels above us in the Euro, but I think that there's a better chance we're going to continue just to break down from this area, so keep an eye on this for a potential breakdown today. And then in the Canadian dollar, we have a little wick over wick hourly level. We came really close to that one, unfortunately unable to get filled, and so now I need to switch this and convert it to a confirmation style entry. Looking at the Great British Pound and the Japanese Yen. Great British Pound, we've rallied up into our supply level that we identified yesterday, so keep an eye on this supply level for today and see if we get a little bit of a pullback. Remember, 1, 2, 3, 4, we're 5 candles in to our 6-candle move and haven't really gone anywhere. So on the next candlestick or so, I'd want to take my stop and move it to break even, since we've not really got much movement out of this. And then this level is going to be dead to me since we traded all the way to the top of that area. Japanese yen, we're coming close to an area, but we're basing in front of it, which lowers the probability of this area working. And so I need to switch this to a confirmation entry or not use it at all because of this basing here that's too close to that area. So heading into this week, it's a shortened week. This is going to be the type of week to be able to trade both options and futures. So with that being said, real quick, we have an upcoming options and futures class. We actually created an active trading intensive session. It's more of a small group mentoring session where we're going to focus on both futures trading as well as options trading. And the idea is that we're going to do options in the morning, futures in the morning, options in the afternoon. So if you are looking to find better ways to generate daily, weekly income, this is going to be something for you, held at a pretty nice venue. But the key is it's going to be kept really small. We're going to be in this little tiny room here. I want it to be very, very small. We've actually got about half the class is already completely filled up. So I've got about 8 or 9 seats left. If you're interested, we're doing a Black Friday special where you actually get 40% off. Just go to tradersarmy.com/active-trading-intensive and you can register for the class. You can get a pretty nice deal on that one. So looking forward to having you in the classroom. Let me know if you've got questions about it. Please feel free to reach out to me directly or send us an email, support@tradersarmy.com. Till tomorrow, everybody, I will talk to you soon, and I will see you later.